Hello students, we will start a new lesson in maths, that is congruence of triangles. Now in this part, let's recall, has been reduced for this year. So we will learn the next part, that is congruence of triangles. But in this there are few important points that has to be understood. Here they have explained us what is congruence or what are congruent figures. For that now I will show you two triangles I will show you. Wait, see, there are two triangles here, namely ABC and PQR. I will show it on a different background so that you'll be able to see it properly. Okay, there are two triangles, triangle ABC and triangle PQR. Now when I place this triangle one above the other and both of them are completely adjusted and they look at the figure here, both are overlapping each other completely. That means these two triangles are congruent. All the sides of both the triangles, side AB is congruent to side PQ, AC to PR, BC to QR. All the sides are equal and therefore we can say the sides are congruent. And also the angles. Now remember children, angles are given in one alphabet or in three alphabets. Angle A congruent to angle P, angle B congruent to angle Q, angle C congruent to angle R. Now in both the triangles, all the sides and all the angles are equal to each other, and therefore we can say triangle ABC is congruent to triangle PQR. This is what means congruence of triangles. Now there are two ways of overlapping. One is just by flipping this. Even if I flip this, this is going to overlap each other completely. And the other way is when I cut this triangle into two triangles and then overlap it, they are again going to overlap each other completely. So this is by completely picking up the triangle and placing it to the other, and the other method is just by flipping it. Now we will learn what is one-to-one correspondence. Now see, the way of matching vertices is denoted by one-to-one correspondence. Point A corresponds to point P, A corresponds to point P. So we will write A one-to-one correspondence to P. A one-to-one corresponds to P. Here two triangles are congruent in the correspondence, A to P, B to Q. When I am placing this triangle over this triangle, B is overlapping with Q. At the same time, C is overlapping with R. So I can say A has one-to-one correspondence to P, B has one-to-one correspondence to Q, and C has one-to-one correspondence to R. At the same time, we are having angles also which are congruent. So we will write them as angle A congruent to angle P, angle B congruent to angle Q, angle C congruent to angle R, and the remaining sides that I have explained you earlier. So we can say triangle ABC is correspondent to triangle PQR. While writing this, we are supposed to write them in one-to-one correspondence. So we will write it as A corresponds to P, so P on the other side, B corresponds to Q, and C corresponds to R, so we will write in this manner. This indicates this is one-to-one correspondence, A corresponding to P, B to Q, and C to R. Children, remember what is one-to-one correspondence and how are we supposed to write. Now on these basis, we can say these two triangles are congruent. Now there are 5 tests through which we can say triangles are congruent. Let us study them. The first test is two sides and an included angle. Here we can see the figure. In this figure there are some indications shown like AB and LM. These two sides are having 2 lines each. BC and MN are having 3 lines each. These indications indicate AB and LM are of equal length because both the marks are same. BC and MN are having both the marks same, so we will say these two are of equal length. At the same time, angle B and angle M are also having same size. That means these two angles are congruent to each other or equal to each other. Therefore, we can say these two triangles are congruent by SAS test, that is side angle side. When we write SAS, A comes in the middle. In the figure also, angle is in middle. Side, angle and side. Side, angle and side. This has to be remembered. When we say side, angle has to come in between. We cannot show side, angle test, that those are different tests. I hope this much is clear with you all. What is SAS test? Now let's go to the next part. Here for SAS test we can write, if two sides and the included angle of a triangle are congruent with the two corresponding sides and the included angle of the other triangle, then the triangles are congruent with each other. This was for SAS test. Now let us see the SSS test. SSS stands for side test, in which all the three sides of both the triangles are equal to each other. Like here I can say AQ and XY are equal. Then QR and YZ are equal. See, I am showing here one line, that means these two are equal. Two lines means these two are equal. And AR and XZ are showing three lines, that means these two sides are also equal. Both the triangles are congruent by side test, wherein all the three sides are equal to each other. And the definition for it goes as, if three sides of a triangle are congruent with the three corresponding sides of the other triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. The next is SAS test. SAS stands for angle side angle test. Now here, in between both the angles we are having one side. First let us see the definition. If two angles of a triangle and a side included by them are congruent with two corresponding angles and the side included by them of the other triangle, then the triangles are congruent with each other. Here is the figure. There are two angles. In between these two angles we are having a side. Here two angles, and in between the two angles we are having a side. So this is angle side angle. The next test is SAAS or SAA. Now your two A's stands for angle side, or we can also call it as side angle test. The definition, the description is as, if two angles of a triangle and a side not included by them are congruent with corresponding angles and the corresponding side not included by them of the other triangle, then the triangle are congruent with each other. Now we are having two angles one after the other, angle and a side. Once again, angle and a side. Now these two angles and after a side, that is angle side. If we had angle side and angle, this would have become ASA, angle side angle. Remember, the position of the angle and the position of the side where it is located will tell you the correct name for the congruence. Here we are having two angles one after the other, so it is angle side. Lastly, we are having is hypotenuse side test. If the hypotenuse and a side of a right angle triangle are congruent with hypotenuse and the corresponding side of the right angle triangle, then the two triangles are congruent with each other. Now hypotenuse, the word comes when it is a right angle triangle. Now in a right angle triangle, we all know that one angle is 90 degrees. So that angle will be same for both, 90 will be same. Now when the hypotenuse, what is hypotenuse? The side which is opposite to 90 degrees is called as hypotenuse. Now hypotenuse of one triangle is equal to the hypotenuse of the other triangle Along with it, if either of the side are equal with each other of the two triangles, then the triangles are said to be congruent by hypotenuse side test. Hypotenuse side test, because this 90 and this 90 will be equal. Right angles are always 90 degrees. Now once we are having this knowledge, we will start with practice set 13.1. Before we start with it, go through your textbook once, read all the information that is given, and then we will start with practice set 13.1. The question here is, in each pair of a triangle in the following figures, parts bearing identical marks are congruent. State the test and correspondence of vertices by which triangles in each pair are congruent. Now, state the test means by which test are these two triangles congruent, and correspondence of vertices. That means what is going to overlap. Here x and y are going to overlap. So accordingly we write the names also. Here the exercise has already been done. There are two triangles, triangle WXZ and WYZ. In this they have shown these two angles common, these two sides equal. These two angles equal and these two sides as equal. So we will write this is one side angle, and WZ is a side which is common in both these triangles. So can we say like these two triangles are congruent by side angle side test? Correct. So these two triangles are congruent by side angle side angle side. One-to-one correspondence. X will correspond to Y. So X will write here, Y will come here. W is common, so W. Z is also common, so Z also comes at the last. So we will write X, W, Z has one-to-one correspondence to Y, W, Z. The second question is, it is a right angle triangle. If it's a right angle triangle, the triangles will be congruent by which test? It is hypotenuse side test. They have shown these two are the hypotenuse and these two are equal. This side is common. So we will write one-to-one correspondence here. K will correspond to L. So K with L. J here, the other side also J. I and I are common. So we will write KJI corresponds to LJI. The third sum is, they have shown a parallelogram in which it's divided into two triangles. HG and EF are having both same symbols. That means these two sides are equal. HE and GF are having same symbols. That indicates these two sides are equal. And EG is a common side in both of them. Now side, this the second side, and the third side is common. So we can say these two triangles are congruent by SSS test. And one-to-one correspondence is, when you just flip this, F will coincide with H. So H, F, G. At the same time, we'll have E with G and G with E. If we cut and paste it overlap this, we will have these one-to-one correspondence. The fourth sum, they've given us with triangles with SMA and TPA. Here these two angles are shown equal. These two sides are also shown equal, and again S and O are of equal symbols given here. So what will be, how this will be overlapped? We have to cut this triangle, place S over O. So S over O. M will go over P because these two angles are equal. So M with P, and T will be overlapped with A. So A with T. And here we can see that both the triangles are having angle, side, angle. So these two triangles are congruent by angle, side, angle test. Lastly, we are having two triangles, that is TMN and TSN. Now here they've given these two as equal angles, these two as equal angles, and side TM and side TS are equal. So we can say these two triangles are congruent by angle, angle, angle side. This is wrongly written. Or side angle. This is angle side or side angle test. And one-to-one correspondence is M coincides with S, T with T, and N with N. So we are having MTN, one-to-one correspondence to STN. With this, we have completed practice set 13.1. Now we will solve exercise practice set 13.2. In that, the question is, in each pair of triangle given below, parts shown by identical marks are congruent. State the test and one-to-one correspondence of vertices by which triangles in each pair are congruent and remaining congruent pairs. So what are we supposed to show? There are three figures given. In these three figures, we have to first identify which the two triangles are congruent by which test, then give their one-to-one correspondence as we have done in the earlier exercise, and the remaining parts. Now what are the remaining parts? Now before we start with the exercise, let's go through this example first so that you will understand the exercise properly. Here again they have shown two triangles in which the identical marks are shown. We have to identify by which angle test are the two triangles congruent and then write the remaining pairs of congruent sides and angles. Now here AB and BC are having identical marks. That means these two are equal. So they've written side AB congruent to side BC, which is given. Then AD or DA and DC are having identical marks. That means these two are identical and are of equal length. So these two are congruent. BD is a common side. Correct? Because BD is shared by both the triangles. So we can write BD as common. So these two triangles are congruent by SSS test. Now once the sides are congruent, what are the remaining parts? The remaining are the three angles. So we can write angle ABD congruent to angle CBD. That means these two angles are congruent. Next is ADB. ADB congruent to CDB. That means these two are also congruent. And remaining BAD congruent to BCD. These two angles are also congruent. So here we have shown the three given sides that were congruent, and therefore the test by which the two triangles are congruent by SSS test, and the remaining three angles we have shown here and written the names this side. The same way we have to solve this exercise also. Let us start doing it. See, in the first part, these two are the triangles. Now triangle MST and triangle MBT both are congruent by which test? We can see that these two are right angles and they are having one side common. So we can say and hypotenuse, both two sides are of equal length because they have identical marks, and MT is the hypotenuse for both the triangles and it is a common side. So we can say both the triangles are congruent by hypotenuse side test. So we will write triangle MST is congruent to triangle TMB by hypotenuse side test. Now which is the remaining part? The remaining is side ST. Side ST and side MB are remaining. So these two also become congruent. At the same time, angle SMT is congruent to triangle BMT, the first pair of congruent angles, and the second pair is STM and BTM. So these three were the remaining parts of the congruent triangles. The second two triangles are here, PRQ and RST. In these two triangles we can see PR and RT are having identical marks. RQ and RS are having identical marks, and this side is an vertically opposite side. So these two will be equal. So we can say कि angle side angle side. side, angle, side. So these two triangles are congruent by side, angle, side test. And the remaining pair of congruents are side PQ is congruent to side ST, angle PQR is congruent to angle TSR, and triangle PQR is congruent to side RTS. So these are the remaining pairs of congruence. And lastly, these two triangles, they've shown there are two angles which are having identical marks, and DC is a common side. So we can say these two triangles are congruent by side angle test or angle side test. And the remaining parts of congruence are DHC and D angle DFC, and side HC and side CF are congruent to each other. This was all about the first question. Now for the second question, they have written, in the adjoining figure, segment AD is congruent to segment EC. Which additional information is needed to show that triangle ABD and triangle EBC will be congruent by AAS test? In the diagram, they've given these two sides are equal, and we have to show these two triangles are congruent by AAA test. Now for AAS test, side is already given, and the remaining two angles are that we will show and say that the both triangles are congruent by angle side test. For that, the two possibilities are angle BAD congruent to angle BCE and triangle ABD congruent to angle EBC. If we say these two pairs, this and this, and these two, if these two angles are equal along with the given side, then we can say these two triangles are congruent by AAS test. Or there is one more possibility, angle BDA, this angle, and angle BEC, this angle. If these two are equal, and once again they are having angle ABD and angle EBC vertically opposite, then we can say these two triangles are congruent by angle side test. So there are two possibilities of the answers. If we have this additional information, we can say triangle ABD is congruent to triangle EBC by AAS test. With this, we finish the lesson. Complete the lesson in your notebooks. And if you are having any doubt, you all may ask me later. Thank you for watching.